Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. Today is April what's the date, people?
It's the 5th.
5th.
April the 5th. It's April the 5th. Here we are talking again with my beautiful co-hosts, Pia and Cullen. We're here to talk to you about how to navigate these current energies. And we're going to talk about all kinds of things that are happening in the world and sharing a higher perspective and what the right actions would be in this changing world. Welcome to the show today, guys. It's nice to see you again.
Excited to be here always.
We always enjoy our conversations with you.
It's so wonderful when, we really don't, when we get on, we don't know ahead of time exactly what we're going to talk about, but we're always so in organic alignment with each other. Pia, I was asking you this morning, what do you really want to focus on? And what did you say?
I said I wanted to talk about people taking responsibility and listening to their inner voice, taking back their power instead of listening to external guidance.
And you said, Cullen?
I said that it's time for humanity to simply stop listening to outside authority, outside influences. It could be our educational system. It could be our political system. It could be our health system. It could be any system, including religion, that tells us that we must conform or we must do something simply because this group or this authority tells us to do it. It's time that humanity listens to their intuition and to their hearts, because our hearts have all the wisdom. And it's as simple as that.
Exactly. I mean, and this is what this evolutionary time period that we've been going through, most specifically over the last, 12, 13 years in our awakening, has been showing us to really claim responsibility and take full responsibility for our own inner sovereignty, our own inner work. Those of us that have been doing the work, that have been transcending the shadow within our own consciousness, within our own being, and doing our spiritual work, we can sit here now and we can feel empowered and we can feel strong in. I was looking at this with my own inner peace. Where am I in my peace? Where am I in my, in my feeling state? How do I feel? And I what came back is that I feel the most at peace than I ever have in my life. How is that possible? I asked myself, like, how is it possible that you feel such peace? And I felt that way because of my spiritual work that I've done and the state that I bring my body into when I'm in my daily practice, right? And doing my daily inner work. And so it feels good to be in such a place. And then there's, of course, how is it possible to feel this way when you see all this craziness playing out in the world, especially when the world wants to pull you back in to, react to all the different things. and to stand back and not give your power away back to and leak your energy out, but to really stand as a beacon of peace, as a beacon of love, as a beacon of light, and also strength and courage, because it's also uncomfortable right now too. Because I know in your blog, Pia, you were just putting down the blog about the new earth energies, where you were talking about this uncomfortable time. Larkma has been saying that we're in an uncomfortable period right now, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that this is the opportunity for us to really show our devotion to our humanity and what we're excited about and what we're invested in.
And our devotion to the truth rather than what other people tell us. That's really important,
It
which is
is.
leading us to we're pushed to make some really hard choices. We can either turn around and hold on, clinging for dear life to those belief systems about what we've been told we need to be loyal to, or we can open up and make some really hard choices about, if I want to follow my truth and what I know is real in my heart, I have to be devoted to something larger, and I have to be open for that to show up.
Absolutely.
I think Cornelia, you've been in on our dinner table conversations lately, because you just said something that was enormously synchronistic and familiar to us. Pia and I are having spontaneous little episodes of feeling absolute joy,
Mhm.
absolute calm, absolute serenity. And it will just come up out of nowhere. And it's happening to both of us simultaneously. We'll look at each other and say, do you feel something? Do you feel different? Is there something that's uplifting you? And the other one of us will say, I'm feeling exactly that same thing. So even though we're in the midst of the most chaotic, the most challenging time I think humanity has ever been through in our entire history, we can still have those moments of bliss, of simply feeling, this is pretty good. I like this energy. I like what's going on. And you brought it up a moment ago, and that's exactly what we're going through at this time. And it's a wonderful little glimpse, I think, of the true reality, and especially a glimpse of where we're going. We can have it now, but I think we're moving towards a larger experience of that in a much more tremendous, a much larger way. So I think something is happening where no matter what's happening externally, we can still be at that place of personal peace, as you said.
Yeah, this is so good. This is so good. I'm so glad that this came up, because honestly, I don't know of anyone else that is reflecting this back to me like you are right now, because I'm by myself here. So as I'm experiencing this deep inner peace, it's me talking to source, me talking out loud to informing the field of how I'm feeling. And I'm feeling just such a deep sense of peace. And then when I was looking at the journey of the last 12, 13 years in particular, because it's been hard work in the last, it's been, I mean, it's been no walk in the park. Good God. It has been like, oh my God. And so now it's like, wow, to take that long walk, this deep journey to get to this place and to feel such deep peace. And then also looking at the relationships in my life, the people that have come and gone, and the relationships that are here, and looking at all of this, and then also looking at the peace that I have made with the losses as well. So it just feels like, and I think the greatest, the joy that I'm feeling is just the relationship that I have with my own inner higher self, with my own inner source, with my own source, with myself. That's the joy. It's like, wow, this is so fun. This is so awesome to feel like this in the midst of this complete insanity that surrounds us. It's like, you see this big huge ocean and it's very stormy, but you are the calm in the storm.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible for everyone to feel this. It's possible because we are all sparks of divine light. We are all connected to source. We can all have these feelings or these episodes, even if it's a glimpse, as I said earlier, even if it's a little piece. All of us can have that. I think P and I have talked about this for years and years and years. If we slow down, if we make our lives less complicated, if we really listen, it's a pretty simple equation. Those feelings that we're talking about, those states of being are available. We can tap into them, but we're so busy. We're so challenged with trying to keep up with what's going on. We're so challenged with we don't have enough time to accomplish what we need to accomplish. We don't spend the time quietly or the time in nature that promotes these feelings, these feeling states.
And Cullen, you said a really important thing. You said taking time to listen. I think people are confused right now about what it is they're supposed to listen to. I think they're listening to all the wrong things and not taking the time to quiet down enough just to listen to the silence and see what kind of guidance comes through. Listen to what nature is telling you and see what needs to come from that. Listen to your own heart's guidance of what feels correct in this moment. People have lost touch with how to do that. And so instead, they're grasping like drowning people at what the government says is the latest thing, or what the medical industry says we have to do now, or what religion says that'll keep us safe, none of which are true. None of it's true.
Yeah, none of it is true.
Yeah.
Everything that we have been programmed to believe is true is not true. And those are hard truths to sit and process and take in. But here I want to go back to what you just said, Colin, is because it reminded me of when you said a lot of people don't think that they have the time. Well, when we know that time is an illusion and that time isn't real, we just not even speak those words, because then you're aging yourself, you're imprisoning yourself by even saying the words, I don't have the time. And so then you won't have the time. But actually making room for peace, making room for nature, making room for the simplicity, the listening, the meditation, the reflection, and making that valuable and a priority in your life, so that you can really make contact with your inner self and find out how you're feeling and be curious about how you're feeling. But if you're not the one that's going to make that's going to create that space and make that space, then if you're still chasing and looking for what the government is saying, what the medical industry is saying, what all the people, all the people that you listen to are saying, instead of working on your own inner garden, which is where the gold is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
And I want to say one more thing. So when you said earlier, Colin, that people can tap into that inner peace now, they can tap into that. And I just want to make note that because of the states that we expressed here now, that these fields are extending, and this is the ripple. And this space is available to tap into, and this will ripple out, and more and more and more people are going to be experiencing states of inner peace because they're choosing to.
Mhm.
They're choosing to make that part of their priority.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's right.
And it's not something that we have to do all day long. We don't have to sit and meditate hours on end, or we don't have to be walking in nature hours on end. We can take very little moments in the day. We can step away from whatever responsibility we're working with, whether we're on the computer or we're writing or we're engaged in some activity. If we simply take a break every once in a while, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, and simply stop what we're doing, just by that action of stopping being so busy, that's when we allow that time or that energy to be all around us. I mean, you're absolutely right. The field is always there. We can always tap into it. But, and I say this over and over again, we're too busy every single moment of every single day to just relax enough to step out of our normal routine and just take a moment. And when we do that, it changes the day and it changes our lives.
You know, I think this is a big important piece, because making room to just be and not have such a busy schedule. Because again, what's the reason for the busyness? What is the reason? Why is the busyness happening? And why are you allowing that busyness? So would your preference be not to be so busy? And if the preference is not to be so busy, then would you be willing to make some room on your schedule so that you can have those moments? And honestly, that's what I did. I made room, a lot of room on my schedule. And I think this was just a natural, organic, but that's usually my way, is because I listen to what my inner guidance wants. And I'm so surrendered to that state of being, that listening to what I'm being guided to do, and that is to make the room. And then when I do it and fall into it, it's just such a great place to be. And what I find when I come back to the action of things to do, I get more done.
Mhm.
Like, things happen very quickly, like, wow, this is done. But it's really amazing how, when we put value on our state of beingness, of what that's going to bring, because we want to create a world where we're not so busy. We're co-authoring, we're setting the foundations for that in 2022. So what kind of world are you creating in your own inner garden, in your own home? What are you laying down? How do you want the energy to play out? Because it's all energy. And so this is our design, our creation. Nobody's telling us how to do it. We're being guided how to do it, and by the values of peace and love and space and beingness and creativity. These are all wonderful ways that we want to set up the foundations for our new earth.
And it doesn't really take that much effort. It really doesn't. It's as you said, scheduling in time for ourselves. And it's not stepping away from responsibilities. It's not stepping away from agreements we've made. It's only altering how we do what we do.
It actually can open us to taking more responsibility when we allow that time, because it gives us the space to examine our choices and to look at the choices we're making, and choosing to listen to everybody outside of us instead of taking the still space to listen to our own hearts It's really not a very high vibratory choice. And it is contributing greatly to war, to arguments, to all kinds of things, because people aren't dealing with things appropriately. They're angry at what they don't think they're angry at. They're believing the propaganda of whatever they're told. They're not taking their sovereign responsibility to be responsible for themselves and their choices.
You know, I was talking with someone last week. We're starting a club together, me and this person. And would you believe this is one of my bright ideas? This club is called the 100+ Club. And basically, it's living into our hundreds and thriving in health and vitality. So that's the club. So all the people that want to come and join that club, it's joining the club of the 100+. And the conversation that we were having, the person and I was saying something to me about, I can't remember exactly the words that were used, but basically he was saying that so then we can possibly bring in someone to tell us about this and that and this and that. And I replied by saying, you know, where I am with this is that I'm not going to have anyone tell me. I'm solid in what my where I am. So there isn't any, there isn't anyone that's going to tell me, override for me how things are going to be. This was a great conversation. This was a great conversation. It was neat for me to be able to see how I responded to something very subtly, because it was like, oh, we can have someone come in and tell us, no, they're not for me. So, and that's what you're talking about, is really taking responsibility for where we're at now in this, on this leg of the journey, and taking ownership, right?
Yes, and it also includes taking the moments that are necessary to stop and think about why you're feeling what you're feeling and why you're thinking what you're thinking. There's so much stuff around the pain and the horrors of what's going on with the war between Russia and Ukraine right now. And a lot of people are really angry at Russians. And this is the perfect point of explaining this, because it's not that the Russians themselves are the evil that they're being portrayed as being. It's that the ones who are following their government's leadership blindly are not taking responsibility to look for the truth and see what the real situation is. They're just told this is what's happening and they believe it.
It's so funny. People are always looking to blame.
Yeah.
To blame something else, because before Russia, it was Trump. Trump was being blamed for all these things. So it's always the next narrative that's being played out, where the blame is being projected instead of looking at what's underneath the anger.
Yes, and the trigger points there, Cornelia, really important, because people are being triggered by certain things in the propaganda. We heard from someone recently who said, I want to know if all the child trafficking stuff that I'm hearing on the news is really true about Ukraine. Is this a major place of child trafficking? And I didn't say this, but I wanted to. There's more child trafficking happening in the United States than there is in Ukraine.
Oh,
You know,
gosh. Yeah.
no, check your resources. Don't believe what you're hearing. Check your resources.
What we're talking about the things that we have to witness to, witness these crimes of humanity. We've been, witnessing it and talking about it. I had to walk that spiral walk again last year, early on, looking at these crimes and bringing my, state of being to it. First, the anger, like, God, why is this still happening? And, geez, just that whole, and then bringing my neutral self to it again, to release the energy, because what does the anger bring up for you is a sense of powerlessness, of that you can't do something about it. That what? Child trafficking happening here in the United States in front of our eyes every single day. Children are being trafficked. Yes. And a lot of the people in the government know about it. And that's also, happening. And so these are the people that you voted into being. So there is a lot of that kind of thing happening that we have to, in order to see the corruption, it really has to come to the surface, and it's all coming to the surface now. It's
And
coming.
some things Cornelia, are so challenging to grasp they could possibly be real, like what you're saying right now. Really, child trafficking happening in America, which it is. So people would prefer to think, well, that's why the Russians are bombing Ukraine, is because Ukraine is trafficking all these children. So yay for the Russians for doing that. And Ukraine has Nazis, so good for the Russians for doing that, instead of looking at what's really going on. It's really challenging to get people to wake up and think and do their own research and take responsibility for what they're feeling about what's going on.
Exactly. The whole thing with the, people saying, this is why Russians are bombing Ukraine, that would take the person to really sit down and do some research on the history of, first of all, that what's going on there, then look deeper and keep looking deeper and go down the rabbit hole. Because, there's people that are saying too, that the reason why Russia and Ukraine, that whole thing is starting out, that whole bombing is going on, is because it's monetary. There's a monetary thing that's happening too, with it's connected to our whole monetary system. So there's people that are saying that. So I think, everything that we're watching right now play out, all the corruption in all the war, it's painful to see, it's painful to watch. But if each person looks at it and does their research, like you just said, Pia, and really maybe find your tribe, find your people, talk to people about it, where you can really look at, what is this bringing up for you as a person, as a being? Because you came here for this. You came here to also be a part of this whole movie playing out, so we can build a better new earth, so we can have peace on earth for the first time ever in our evolutionary time period. We've never had peace. We've always had wars. So whether it's the Russians bombing Ukraine, or whether it's the neighbor down the street hitting his wife.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's, or it's Will Smith walking up on stage and slapping Chris Rock at an elegant event where everyone was witnessing, and Will got a standing ovation for winning an Oscar after projecting violence on a colleague.
It's not acceptable. And I would have thought we would have learned some of this in the 2 years of having medical mandates thrown down people's throats, where they were told they had to do things and not giving them a choice to decide if they wanted to do something or if it was for their highest interest. And still people are listening to outside external sources about what's going on, rather than doing the research and looking at the true situation. And that's what this whole period of Pleiadian Earth energy astrology is about, is becoming able to do what we need to do to see the truth, and then devoting ourselves to that truth so that we can make the hard choices we need to make the changes we need to make to have a peaceful world.
Do you know the gas prices? I don't know what your guys' gas prices are where you are, but here in the US, I think in California, they're like $7 a gallon. $7 a gallon gas. Okay. Can you believe it? So here we were in lockdown for like 2 years, not able to go out and socialize and be with each other and all the things. And now it's like a single mother that is raising a child or whatever, that's making an income, barely able to support herself, has to pay $7 or $6, $5 a gallon to get to pay for gas to get to work. And then the grocery stores, the food, the economy, the prices, everything is so inflated, so inflamed. The whole thing that's that's playing out is really, that's showing us of all the things that need to change, that are not sustainable. The whole thing has all been built on debt and lies and manipulations and all the things. And it's like, we are here to watch all of these unsustainable structures now come down. They need to come down. You know, I saw this thing on YouTube, and it said Biden calls for crimes against, Biden calls for war crimes against Putin. That's what the headline said. Biden calls for war crimes against Putin. You know what I did? I rewrote it, and this is what I said. I said Biden calls for war crimes against Biden. I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me? So
it's all about spin. It's all about propaganda. And here's a really simple thing that we could do collectively. As gas prices soar and get out of the ability for normal people to pay for gas to get to work and to buy groceries, if everyone just in the United States refused to buy gas for one day.
Oh, that's good, Cullen.
If it was only one day, it would cripple the gas and oil business. One day.
I think I'm going to post that on social media.
If people didn't go to work because they didn't have gas for one day, they wouldn't lose their jobs because everybody would be doing it. If the teachers couldn't get to school for one day, they wouldn't lose their jobs. The kind of solidarity and the kind of unity that we're capable of creating is so simple. One day protest of a financial thing that everybody needs. Everybody needs gas. I don't understand, honestly, why people don't get together and simply say, we've had it. We're not going to put up with this anymore. We're going to not buy gas for 24 hours. It would cripple the people who are controlling the gas and oil industry.
You just gave us the solution. You just gave us a solution of something that we can all do. Everyone, here's the thing. I'm going to use this. I'm going to post it on social media, and I'm going to invite everyone to do it. And I'm going to, talk about, and then I'll put our video underneath that request where they can listen to you give this perfect solution. So I recommend that everyone does this, what you just said. And when they're not going to go to work that one day, to go out in nature and make room for peace and have the day for themselves while they're going to take that one day to not buy gas and be part of the solution. And
it's
be
perfect.
Part of the solution. It's perfect. And then they can use that. It's a self-wellness day. It's a self-nature check-in day. And so we're going to invite the public to do that. This is a perfect solution. I mean, the whole thing with the gas is completely ridiculous because from what I heard, there is, Alaska or whatever has places where we can have our own gas being oil there. And there's other places here in the US that we don't even need to go anywhere else to. Isn't that something? We don't need to go anywhere else. And that's what you're saying too, Pia. We don't need to go outside of ourselves. We have everything we need here.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we continually hear about Russia and the Ukraine is, well, it's all about gas and oil. It's Russia is beating up the Ukraine because the Ukraine used to own Crimea, which Russia took illegally from Ukraine because they wanted a port in the Black Sea. That has nothing to do with the gas and oil prices in America. Mexico and Venezuela have huge untapped resources of oil and natural gas. America can buy, if they can't produce it, as you just suggested, on their own, America is able to buy all the gas and all the oil needed from the same hemisphere. It has nothing to do with Asia or Europe at all. So when people cry, well, Putin is doing this because he's trying to protect the world about keeping gas prices down, that is part of the huge illusion of the game of what's going on. America has no need to pretend that there's a gas and oil crisis. There is no gas and oil crisis. There's plenty to go around for years and years and years. So that's one of the reasons why I'm suggesting, if not just in the United States, but a worldwide one-day protest. People, we've talked about this on your show over and over again, and we've touched on it today. People need to start taking personal responsibility by standing up and saying, no, I won't do this anymore. I won't take this anymore. And when people do that in a unified, strengthening position, it will change the world. That's all it takes.
And it's, you know what you're suggesting, Cullen, is really soft. It's gentle. It's nonviolence.
Exactly.
It's nonviolence. It's really standing up. It's peace. It's honoring. I could start crying right now. I have tears because that's what it is.
It's creating, Kornelia, it's creating the world we want by standing up and being responsible. It's so simple. It is really, really simple. We have the ability, you talk about this in all of your shows, we have the ability to create what we want here and now. We don't have to wait for another realm, another dimension. We can create it here, right now, by making conscious choices and unifying who we are. And I keep saying this is simple. It's not complicated. We can do this right now, but we have to act together, and we have to act responsibly, and we have to act, and this is the most important part, we have to act for the highest good of all. And that's it. That's the whole picture.
Yeah. So as the people, if we do this one-day protest in a very soft, gentle, nonviolent, peaceful, conscious, intentional, purposeful way, that we've had enough, that nope, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to take one day and we're all going to do it together. That's what's going to change the world. That's when we really fully take our responsibility back. That's the type of energy that we can use to say, this is what I did to claim my power back. Right? This is what I did. Take the day off and go and enjoy yourself. I mean, seriously.
What a concept. What a concept.
I mean, go play like children in nature for one day and don't buy gas for one day. And that's the solution. That's the solution if we all did that together. We have the resources right here. This movie that is playing out, how we've been manipulated into buying into these stories, and this is how we're supposed to live our lives. We're not victims. We came here for greater things. We came here to co-create our new earth and living in our sustainability well into our hundreds plus, if we choose to, and co-create and make a better way, not to continue on creating these unsustainable environments and keeping people trapped in illness and death.
It's really interesting. If we look back to the 1960s, some of the slogans that we saw on bumper stickers or spray painted on walls, one of the best ones I ever saw was very simple. It said, "Stop buying into the lies." Stop buying into the lies. And that really moved me. I was a university student in those days, and it really made me think, what are the lies? What have we been fed? What have we been listening to? And if we don't agree with it, why do we continue to simply go along with it? And that was a formative change for me all those years, 50 odd years ago. That created a formative change in me to realize that I have to trust what I understand inside more than I can trust what other people say. And P has been talking about this and writing about this for years. This is really an important thing. And the other thing that came out of the 60s that I loved in bumper stickers was nature always bats last. And I love that slogan because nature is intelligent. Nature knows what it's doing. And no matter what we throw at nature, and I mean throw, garbage, pollution, whatever we're doing, poisons, nature is only going to take this for so long. And then nature is going to say, okay, this is it. You've abused me. You've done things that are not sustainable. You've done things that are making it harder for me to make a home for you. You've made it harder for yourselves as humans. So nature really does always bat last. And we're going to be in a crisis here very quickly. We're already in it, but we're going to see the ramifications and the results of what we've done to Mother Nature. And it's going to hit us in the face. And it's about ready to hit us in the face.
When I was in Hawaii a few years back, there was that flood. And there was a flood on Kauai Island. And as soon as I landed, like literally like 12 hours later, I'm in this massive, massive flood. And like, it was just this rain. I mean, it was like wow. And electricity went out and people were running and looking for higher land, and the water was coming in and everything was being washed away. Later on, when I was in the middle of it too, but later on when I was writing about it, Kauai was speaking, and she said, my body is not a storage facility. Stop abusing me. Exactly what you just said. My body's not a storage facility. We have to clean this up. Bring the sacred back, bring the honoring back. So I was speaking for Kauai. I was in the middle of this massive flood where people are, afraid that everything was going to be washed away. I mean, literally at the banks, livestock was being washed, by all kinds of things. It changed the structure of the land with this flood. And it was an incredible time for me to be there. It took that 1 week of being that peaceful, calm energy. I remember going to yoga that week, and I was on the beach, and the yoga instructor was telling the yoga people to, after the class is over, he's going to pack up his car and everybody's going to go to higher land and, run, kind of thing. And at the end of the class, I said, I would like to offer something. Remember that you all are powerful creators, and you also have the ability to bring peace and calm. And I said, so rather than running, or, if you feel called to run, I mean, run. But I said, we might also just be really peaceful and, think blue sky, calm water, be in that and meditate on that. And so I offered that to the group, and it was, interesting to see how many people were responding to that energy. But that was what I was being in that is blue sky, calm water. And then 7 days later, when the sun finally came back out, it was a rejoicing in the blue sky and calm water after that whole flooding was going on. So I think in this time period that you're talking about, Cullen, is that now is the time to build and be those, build our own arcs, if you will, you know, and be those peaceful beacons that we are, because we are at one with nature, and that we have the ability to be just like we talked when we opened the show today, is if there's this big huge ocean and there's, you know, to be really to be the calm in the storm. You know,
We have the capability to do exactly what you're saying. In the studies where hundreds, if not thousands, of meditators were asked to go to certain places where there was violence or war or discord, in those studies back in the 70s and 80s, where hundreds, if not thousands, of meditators would sit day after day meditating and doing exactly what you just described, it changed the energy of the negativity of what was going on in those places. It's verifiable. It's scientifically proven. We can create that. We are capable of that. But people simply don't believe that individually they're that powerful. That's the problem.
That is the problem. That is the problem. They don't believe that they are. And this is what you were saying today too, Pia, is that people need to start taking responsibility for their own energy, for their own power, right? People don't believe that they have what they're contributing to any given moment has anything that it will have an effect. That's why I said, when you're watching this video later, know that what we're doing here is you can tap into this peaceful energy because it exists. It's already here. It's already here. It's rippling out, but it's also there for your choosing, for your taking, for your implementing and working with that energy, right, Colin?
I love the word you just used, Kornelia, rippling out. If people could understand when they're in a calm state, it doesn't have to be a meditative state, but when people are in a calm, creative state, what they are creating, just themselves, just that one person, that ripples out to every other energy, every other person. It ripples out beyond planet Earth. It ripples out into the universe. And if people would simply understand that ripple effect, that they can make a difference, just themselves, even if they think they're only a small part of the big picture, what they do by that conscious effort is much, much larger than they can ever dream of, what they can ever imagine. And if they believe, and this is an important point, if they believe that they are causing or doing that, and they join that with others, it's unstoppable. That energy is absolutely unstoppable because it will go, because it has intelligence, it will go anywhere and everywhere it needs to go. And that is what creates change.
And that's what we need to do by making hard choices. Be willing to surrender my right to be angry, my right to be upset, my right to have all this emotional stuff that also ripples out and creates war and discord and doubt and anxiety. That also ripples out. So if we are willing to surrender that and just see what is and then know that we can change it in a different direction by being different ourselves, what Cullen said is the solution for all of the problems.
Yeah, you did. You did. You said that you gave us the solution for all the problems. That's why you said a lot of things. There's a lot of things that were said here today. So many nuggets. I've been writing them down. And I know when we get done, we're going to use the words, what we're going to title this video. I think that this podcast today is one of I always say this about every one that we do, but this is one of the best ones. But every time I say it's one of the best ones, and that's fine.
Well, they build, Cornelia, they build on each other. That's part of why we are so involved and interested in the Pleiadian understanding of energy, because every energy builds on the next energy. Every energy that we're involved with develops into a stronger energy when it's combined with other energies that are available to all of us. And so when you say this was the best one we've ever done, it's the best one in the moment, but it is connected to all the other ones that we've already done, and it creates a greater whole.
It incorporates all the others because they do build on each other. So it incorporates it and integrates it and makes this energy, this particular moment, more potent, more powerful.
I just want to say that I don't have anyone else in my life that this space that you two and I are creating here, this consciousness of how we're speaking, what we're teaching, talking about, sharing. I don't have that with anyone else this way. So I just want to say that. And I so much appreciate it very much to be with soul family. It's important. It's important to be able to have that. And this is a process that we created. We're the ones that are co-creating this together. We found each other, right?
Yes, and there are several reasons for this. One of them is the energy of three, because the three of us three is the number for creativity in the Pleiadian system. And we create a special energy because the three of us are doing this together. But the other part, equally important, is the three of us understand the great importance of service. We understand that we are here to serve, to help, and to teach. And I have trouble saying the word teach, but I'm going to use it anyway.
Yeah, right.
I will not use the word teach. I will say share.
Yeah.
We are here, the three of us, to share what we know by example. We are living the way we know we can help create a better world.
And coincidentally, today's earth energy, Cullen just addressed the universal energy of three, which is today's energy. And the earth energy for today is choosing. So it is the perfect moment for creating the opportunity for making different choices, more powerful choices, choices that make a difference.
Yeah, and teaching or sharing by example, I've noticed over the years, is the best way for people to notice that others do things differently. People notice that maybe someone's healthier because of their thoughts, or maybe someone's healthier or happier because of what they eat. So sharing by example, instead of telling someone what to do, if people just observe, well, these people, and I don't have any ego in what I'm saying about this. This is for everybody who's living a right livelihood lifestyle. All other people have to do is look at them and say, wow, look at the light they're producing. Look at what is rippling out from their actions. And that's the best way to share and teach. Instead of telling someone you need to do this or you need to learn this, people don't easily recognize the truth unless they see it in action through their observation of what other people are doing.
Your cellular structure, your every cell in your body, all the cells just heard everything you said. And the cells are firing up and lighting up because it's true. It's not about the ego. It's about telling the truth. And what you just said is truth. Modeling, being the example, the way showers, the outlier, the forerunner right? Of showing what is possible through our example. In my group a couple weeks ago, some of the questions was formed like, how do we do this, or how do we? I said, just watch me, and that's like not. It's just like, watch me. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm living it. I'm being an example of it. And so, just watch me. So this isn't fake. This is real. This is authentic here. So just watch me and then go, wow, like you just said, Cullen, wow, look at her, how is she dealing with it? How is she showing up? How is she navigating these energies?
Yeah.
Just watch me. Am I consistent? Am I being real? Am I, showing you the authentic way?
And here's a clue. If someone's watching you and they're sitting there saying, I wish I could be like that, you can. Anybody can.
It's all it is observation of authenticity, integrity, and honesty. That's it. That's it. If we live a life like that, people can see the changes that are happening in other people's lives. And why wouldn't everybody want to live like that? That's a big question for me. Why would people want to suffer? Why would people want to be unhappy when they can see that they could actually have a more fulfilled life, a happier life, simply by making different choices and changing their lives? I mean, it's a pretty simple equation.
Yeah, it really comes down to, this is something you said earlier, Colin. You said that you were stop buying into the lies, and that why do people buy into the lies, and why do they keep buying into it? Do you feel that it's a cultural thing, that people buy into the lies within their culture, because they're just hovering together as a culture, and they buy into those belief systems in that way? And
I think it's a global poison.
it's
And
a
the
global
poison is to listen to another voice of authority outside of yourself. So if you're in a particular culture, that voice of authority may be your government, your doctor, your religion, whatever, in that particular culture. But it's a global poison that's affecting all cultures.
But I think you are both saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a generational thing too.
Yeah.
If we look back, our grandparents bought into something that maybe we don't agree with. Their children, our parents, bought into something maybe we don't agree with. We're looking at it differently. The post World War II generation, of which the three of us are in, we're the first generation. I've really looked at this. I've really studied this over the years, both professionally and personally. We're the first generation who have put our little hands up. Where's the camera? We put our little hands up and said, wait a minute. I don't like this. I don't believe this. We're the first generation to break this generational lockstep. Do what your family has done. Do what generations before you have done. They've all pretty much done what they were told to do
Until now.
and I call that, and I've written about this for years, I call that bad training. We've all had bad training, and our generation is the first one who have realized that there's more to life, there's more to reality than what we've been told, or what we've been told that we must do to conform and be okay in society. So I think we're the generational breakers. I think we are the world breakers. And I think that's where so many of us are waking up now in our generation, because we're the ones who have to make the change, who have to make the difference.
And we already have, because we already have. That's the thing that I'm feeling. It's like it's done. It's a done deal. It's done.
Yes.
It's like no. That's
Yes.
it's like no, not on my no. It's just like, no.
I say yes to your no.
Good, good. It's like, yeah, that's standing in your authority. And we're moving into a time. Do we need the government? Do we need governments? Right? It's like, hey, maybe that time period is done now, and we're done with that, and we can move more into our communities and self-governing, and maybe that's where we're heading. Because honestly, what's happening there, if the government were my parents, I would be extremely disappointed in them. And I would be very ashamed and embarrassed by the leadership that is happening there. And
That's a great
It
analogy.
is.
I was at dinner last night with a friend, and I told her this. I said, if the government was my parents and I was, I would be so embarrassed. I would be so ashamed of how they're I would be telling my friends, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you have to see my parents act like this, and that I know they're liars. And I'm really sorry. This is what I was saying. It's like, wow.
I love it.
And you have to get people to wake up and see that reality, that they are being humiliated and embarrassed by their government, instead of just blindly accepting whatever they're being told. And that's the hard point choice we're at right now, is to take the responsibility to investigate, to listen to your heart, to find what's real and true, and then follow that.
I don't want this conversation to end. This was really, really good. So we have just a few minutes left. Pia, did we cover the points that you wanted to bring up today? Do you feel complete with what we talked about?
We did. I do. Thank you.
Good, good. Now you did your course recently. I heard it was a great success.
It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of good feedback from it. I'm still getting good feedback from it. In fact, I'm getting a lot of people asking me when I'm going to do another one. So I think it was well attended and well received, and I had a great time sharing with everybody.
Good. And is that course still available somewhere on your website, or?
Will be in the month of May. It
Okay,
is not out right now. Only the participants have access to it, but in the month of May, it will be available on the website.
Good. Well, that was a good sign that people want more, and so that's really fun. So now you're going to become a course creator more in that way. It's like,
I am in this moment. Who knows what I'll be in the next moment, but I am right now in this moment doing that.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's amazing to live in this space of not knowing what's next, like what's going to be the next thing. I'm also in that place right now. I also feel a sense of flatness. There's this is, I was talking about this yesterday to my friend. I said, I just feel flat. Like there's like a spark. Where's the spark? Like, let's jumpstart this. Like, but I don't know what to jumpstart. So I'm in this space of flatness right now, and I've learned when I'm in these spaces of not non-clarity or flat or wherever I am, that it's okay to be there, and it's okay to be there, and it may be uncomfortable and weird, and it is. It's like it's flat here. It's like all these things are kind of boring, and it's like you just want to sign off and go to another planet, and I'll be back in a while.
But it's the perfect time for receptivity. It's the perfect time to open your heart and be receptive to what else. Something's missing. What else?
Yeah,
Show me.
What's coming?
Show me.
What is right around the corner? What is going to show up? And that takes us out of the boredom loop. That takes us out of the well, I don't know what's next, but I'm okay because this is a respite. This is a cycle of resting. And when the energy is right, I will pick up the next, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is, but I will pick up the next uplifting, energetic moment.
One of the things that our Pleiadian friends Lark might tell people and us over and over and over again is it doesn't matter what you do. It matters how you do it. It's the how, it's not the what. So if it's feeling flat and there's nothing there, be in the how of how to be flat.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's the place. We wouldn't be in these places of flatness or cavitation or no movement unless it was purposeful.
Mhm.
It's part of the energy that is available to us. And as Pia said a moment ago, it's the perfect place for receptivity and maybe a quiet moment before the creative, that next creative impulse happens. And maybe we need these respites. Maybe we need these calm times so that we can regather our energy, regather our thoughts, regather, probably most importantly, our feelings. And then it's time to jump to the next, whatever the next is.
Watch this. Ego, did you hear what he said? Did you hear? Because this is, you're speaking to the ego, calming the ego. It's just, the more you're saying, oh, calm, it's exactly that. It's, being okay with this flatness, and that there's a purpose for that also. While you were talking, I was actually thinking about, how this year we're in the year of the tiger, water tiger. And I actually felt like, as I was listening to you, is that I'm just prancing, because I am moving. I'm like cleaning my closets, I'm cleaning things out, I'm moving things around, and I'm just looking at everything kind of bored. There's nothing really, it's like, okay, cleaning this and cleaning that, letting go of this and that, and being okay with all but I don't have that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's I think that the really easy, simple way to say it is it's a preparation time.
That's good.
We're preparing for the next step. We're preparing for what comes next. And the interesting thing is we don't need to know what it is. The ego, the outer personality always wants to know, but what is it going to be? Where's my safety net? Where can I feel comfortable? Where can I not feel lost? And it's exactly where we're supposed to be. It's perfect in the cycle and the patterns of how we do what we do. I think it's essential that we go through these periods.
Yeah. And here we are in this beautiful period of new beginnings, respite, and not knowing what's next, being curious and open.
And guess what? We got to have this conversation.
Totally. And I just feel so good about what we talked about today, all the things. And you could see we talked about a lot of different things, and we also had the laughter and the joy and the giggles. We also had that. And mostly is that inviting you, the audience, to look at your own inner counsel and look at where you are in your life right now. What's important to you, and look at how you feel about the things that Pia mentioned earlier about the government, and claim your power there, and the medical industry, and claim your power there, and all the things, so that you can sign off.
And make sure that what you feel is based on truth rather than arbitrary fake facts. Make sure you're connecting with the truth before you claim how you really feel.
And although I know we're at the end of our time, I want to throw in one more idea that I got from both of you just now. It's about loyalty. We have to be careful about where we place our loyalty, because if we place our loyalty in the government, if we place our loyalty in the medical industry and many other
Religion.
organizations, education, whatever it is, if we falsely place our loyalty in those areas that don't really have our best and highest good within their structure, within their platform, we're placing our loyalty in the wrong place. We need to place our loyalty with people that are trustworthy, people who are flexible, people who are open. Our
People who
loyalty,
have heart.
our loyalty belongs there, not in institutions, not in the authoritarian things we've talked about during this discussion today. We need to place our loyalty only in places that have the highest good for all as the intention. And that is a really big step for humanity, because we place our loyalty mostly in the wrong places. And that's why we're in the greatest trouble we're in, because of that.
That is so good. That is so well said. And I just want to add to that by saying that who are the people that have your back and that stand with you? And most and if you're looking at the systems outside, they haven't been for you. They haven't been for you. So that's we know that hasn't been, and though that's where the lies have been. And now to really look at where is your small, very small circle of the people that are with you. Sometimes it's just you and your cat, or you and your dog, or whatever. It has to begin somewhere, and it might as well begin with you. But if you're sitting here listening to this conversation, you already have people that are with you and for you, because we are laying the foundation, and this foundation is rippling out. And so
and that is what we call true spiritual family.
And may you be blessed in it. May you receive it. And we thank you so much for listening and for tuning in today. As always, Pia and Cullen, love being with you and love sharing this higher consciousness and co-creating our new earth together. Thank you, everybody. We're going to see you again next month, same station, and we'll see you again. Take good care. And don't forget, we're going to be posting all the links below. I should let Pia announce her links really quick. Pia, give us your website.
PiaOrleane.com, PiaOrleane.com. That will have the videos for the workshop that you asked about. And Cullen's and my joint work with the Pleiadians is LARKMA, LAARKMAA.com.
And both of these websites have a tremendous amount of information and services that we offer to the public. And
I'm going to be posting somewhere on Facebook. I'm going to have to write it up. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the video, exactly the instructions that Cullen gave us to take our day away. And for our Unity Day away, from calling all of you to play with us and do this together. And so I want to write it out. I want to post it out. I think this is fun. And I think this is a way that we can really come together as a community and call it a health day, a wellness day, and a not buying gas day. And I love that so much. That's why I said to my friend last night, if the government were my parents, I would be so rebellious right now. I would be so ridiculously rebellious right now, So, but I've already let go of that family. And so the government is not my parents, and they're certainly not my leaders. And so, because I know who I am. And that's the whole point. That's the point of these conversations, is to invite you to know who it is that you are and bring yourself to the table. So Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.